And you?
Pardon? Oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah.
I just have a question. You know, like obviously the front page of Etsy is very valuable real estate for a seller, and I understand how the treasuries get there. You've got resources as how we might get into more treasuries or whatever. You know, you've got the featured sellers. I just discovered the videos on YouTube of the sellers. Once a seller gets to a point where their shop is good enough to be featured, how do they kind of gain access to that? Are these people presenting themselves to you? Is this another thing that just employees seek out? You know, how can the seller gain access to that?
Yeah. The question was around how do sellers gain access to, how do we choose featured sellers basically, which is an area on the homepage that we showcase sellers every couple of days. So the context of the question is that there are a small group of people at Etsy, 3 people really, who we call merchandisers. It's kind of an older term, but for us it means the parts of the site where we can showcase sellers and buyers also, or actually it's bigger than sellers and buyers. It's interested parties, right? So sellers, buyers, and sometimes third-party curators. These spots include the gift guides, the featured seller on the homepage. In the blog, we have all kinds of handmade portraits, which are video. We have Quit Your Day Job as a series. We have how-tos that are sometimes presented by sellers. So there are a lot of different areas. I haven't named them all. There are the emails, which is another important channel. There are a lot of different areas where we are essentially presenting. And then there's the treasuries where the community is curating. We also invite oftentimes third-party curators in to write posts for the blogs or to showcase things in virtual labs. So the general answer to your question, I'll try to come specifically to featured seller. The general answer is for each of those vehicles, there's sort of some guiding principles that we're using in each case, and they depend upon the case. There's a monthly post that this small merchandising group makes in the store, our blog, which basically tells you every month kind of what are the themes that we're looking at, what are some of the things that we're talking about. It's a way to inform you how we're thinking, so regardless of whether or not you're chosen for one of those spots, at least you can know kind of what's going on at Etsy. The featured seller spot, to be perfectly honest, it's one that I'm sort of, trying to get my head wrapped around. Really, what is it that is the best goal for us there? I am aware that it's a coveted spot, and I know that there have been many actual, incredible success stories. When I was in London in the spring, I met, oh my God, I can only think of her shop name. It's embarrassing. Anyway, I met a woman who makes these clutch bags, and she was a featured seller. And I mean, she told me the most incredible story about how she basically pulled, 2 consecutive all-nighters to keep up with the demand that she got from that. That it's really changed her whole life because her business was made. And that's a wonderful story, and I'm proud of that. But that slot. I mean, the questions that I'm asking myself, frankly, are, is that really is that sort of the best way we can go about this, essentially? And it's not that we don't want to offer the promotion, it's that there's only so many people that can rotate through a single slot on a single homepage. I can tell you, it's 365 days a year, you can figure out how many, and that just doesn't seem like it's scalable. And also from a buyer's perspective, I think this gets back to my personalization point. I think the homepage, 2 days of content on a homepage in internet time is really a long time. So I'm frankly asking myself a lot of questions about that spot. I don't think you can expect it to change for the remainder of this year because there is no plan at the moment. I'm just being perfectly honest. There are a lot of different spots around Etsy that sellers can be featured. I'm not sure we're making the absolute, best choices that we could be making. And I don't mean the specific sellers. I mean the slot itself.
We are sort of starting to do more interesting things in terms of pulling ideas from the community. For example, there was a homepage today, I think it was, or yesterday, that was built entirely from recommendations via Twitter. So Etsy has a Twitter account. It's heading towards 1 million followers, which is quite an amazing achievement. And it does a great job of managing this amazing amount of data that's coming at us. But the announcement went out, recommend stuff to us, tell us stuff, and we got lots of really good recommendations.
That reminds me, I must be getting tired because I actually forgot the most important point, which he just reminded me of, which is part of the reason I'm asking myself the question is that I think part of the beauty of what the example Ian just gave is the notion of, community curation, right? So there may always be times when Etsy itself wants to play a curatorial role, and I think that's, our prerogative as the marketplace provider. But I do think that, the bigger principle of community curation is actually what makes the magic, right? So right now, treasuries are a lot of fun, and you all know about them, and they're super fun to make. And from my perspective, they're amazing, right? Because all of you actually have great eyes, and you take the time to go through the site and curate. So I don't, right now, treasuries are limited to a certain number, and that has its own kind of, gaming quality to it. But, as a principle, I think